Reports of someone recording?
Being suspicious walking around because this is a building with important people.
Your inclination is wanting to assault me, Sergeant. Stop pushing me. I'm trying to get in. I'm trying to get in the building.
You can't come in the building. You have no business here.
I do have business here. Stop acting like a savage. What are you doing? At this point, Sergeant Bryan Fahey assaulted me yet again.
How may we help you today?
So I'm here to file a complaint and give a statement. I just want to make it very clear. This is a camera. This is not a taser. This is not a firearm of any sort. I really hope that this office holds Sergeant Bryan Fahey accountable in at least some way, because last time he wasn't, and I truly believe that's why this event occurred again. Hey, what's up guys? Long Island Audit here. Back again with another video. Today we're at the Connecticut State Police Office of Professional Standards. We are here today, as always, to peacefully exercise our First Amendment right to film in public and publicly accessible areas, to promote transparency and accountability within our government, and to ensure that our public servants recognize our rights and treat us with respect. So we are here today at the Office of Professional Standards, which is this building over here. For those of you that remember, we were already here almost 2 years ago to file a complaint against Sergeant Bryan Fahey, and that's exactly what we're doing here today. So let's get into it.
Hi.
Hey,
sir.
how are you, sir?
How you doing? I'm Captain Giannoni with Internal Affairs.
Captain Giannoli?
Yes, Giannoni.
Giannoni,
Yes.
excuse me.
D'Angelo. How you doing?
Sergeant D'Angelo,
Good to meet
nice
you.
to meet you.
What's your name?
My name is Sean.
Sean.
Yeah.
Okay. How may we help you today?
So I'm here to file a complaint and give a statement on, I'm not sure if you're familiar. I'm an independent journalist. I went to go to the Connecticut State Headquarters to file a FOIA request for some documentation, excuse me.
Yes.
And while doing that, I came in contact with Sergeant Bryan Fahey,
Yes,
who I
I'm
have,
aware of that.
I have a history of. There's a history there of almost 2 years ago. Sergeant Bryan Fahey, I spoke to your office before, and apparently after he broke my cell phone and assaulted me, the report was that he was, found that he thought my camera was a weapon of some sort, and that's why he grabbed it and threw it from my hand. And I just want to make it very clear that this is a camera. This is not a taser. This is not a firearm of any sort. So just in case we had any, just in case there was any discrepancies there, this is not a weapon of any kind. But yeah, so I'm here to just give a statement on what happened. The event occurred on June 16th.
Absolutely. What we can do is we'll take your complaint. You can either write it yourself, or we'll help you write it, or we'll write it. However you prefer, it's your choice. And we'll get that done. And once you're okay with everything that's in there, we'll both sign it. And you could submit it to us, and we'll continue with the investigation from there.
Okay.
Fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. All right. So if you just give us a moment, we'll get
Sure.
the paperwork.
Thank you.
We'll be right out.
All right. Thank you so
Prefer
much.
to do it yourself?
I would rather just give a statement to you two, and you could just write down the pertinent
very good.
details and
That's
important
fair.
details. All right. Thank you.
Sorry about that, Sean. I'm just grabbing the paperwork.
It's okay.
We'll do it out here because we have a couple interviews going on in our conference room, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So,
Not a problem.
we could either do it at the table, we could do it wherever you want, somewhere else.
One of the cars,
This is Lieutenant,
That's fine. Yeah, we could.
this is
Wherever.
Lieutenant Swift, by the way.
Lieutenant Swift. Nice to meet you.
Sean Reyes.
Yes.
So I understand you mentioned that you guys had some history. You had some history with Sergeant Fahey.
Yeah, almost 2 years ago, I was at this very building before, and I spoke to Sergeant Andrea.
Okay.
And I
O'Donnell,
forgot.
maybe?
Yeah, I believe. And we had the same type of interview here before, and I submitted a complaint against him. I believe that incident took place on July 21st, 2021.
Okay. What's that? Yeah. So this happened, the most recent incident, when was that?
June 16th at approximately 3 p.m.
6/16/2023 at about 3 p.m. Today is the 28th of June, 23. It's 11:02. And this happened, the incident happened, the most recent one, at State Police Headquarters, right?
At State Police Headquarters, that's correct.
Can you spell your first name for me?
My first name is Sean, one word, Sean Paul.
Sean Paul Reyes, Reyes, right?
That's correct.
Would you mind giving me your date of birth? You mentioned you're independent journalist. That's your...
Yes. My company's name is Long Island Audit, Inc.
As far as the video footage, if I give you an email address, would you be willing to email it to me?
Yes.
Okay, I'll do that to you. I'll do that for you. Okay. Take me through it as far as what happened.
Yeah. So I arrived and I was confronted by Trooper Kioi, badge 854, and she had said that I was making people uncomfortable by recording, and
Were you outside or inside?
I was outside at this point, and she had asked me to leave. I told her that I had a right to record and it was public property.
Okay.
And she continued to, we had an exchange, a back and forth of, she said I could be possibly breaching the peace by making people uncomfortable. I informed her breach of peace has to come with an active threat of violence as per Connecticut Supreme Court. And just a back and forth of her not wanting me there and that I was making people uncomfortable, the very important people inside of the building apparently. And yeah, she had, at the end of that exchange, she had just walked away and said, you know what, you could stay here, and went back inside.
Okay.
So that's the first part.
So just to summarize, so you're outside recording.
Yes.
So while outside in the parking lot area? Or
Yes, parking lot area recording.
Parking lot. And I'll read this back to you.
Sure, yeah.
We're done, just to make sure we're on the same page. Recording. You were approached by Trooper Kiog 854.
Yeah.
I was approached She mentioned to you that you were making people uncomfortable when she asked you to leave. Is that correct?
Yes.
She advised me that I was making people uncomfortable and instructed you to leave.
Asked me to leave.
Asked you to leave.
Because we made it in the conversation. She made it clear that she was only asking me to leave. She wasn't ordering me or anything like that. She acknowledged that we were on public property and that I had a right to be there.
Okay, so she only asked you to leave. She wasn't ordering you to leave.
Yep.
You part ways. She says, you know what, just fine, you're fine to stay, and she goes back inside.
Correct.
She eventually advised me that it was okay to stay.
Yeah.
And she went back inside.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of the first segment, so to speak.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, then take.
And I'd just like to note that, you know, I felt, you'll see the video, but I felt that she was very unprofessional towards me, in her demeanor and the way she was speaking to me.
I'm going to put that in here too.
Yep.
I felt that her demeanor was unprofessional. Toward me.
Yep.
Anything else about that segment?
That's it.
Okay. Let's move on to the second, again,
Yeah.
area, I guess, of concern.
Yeah, so I walked to the front of the building and I waited in line. There was a line in order to get inside the building. So I waited in line and the trooper, Keo, same trooper, she opened the door and asked if the person behind me needed any assistance. And
okay, so she came to the door.
Yeah.
Opened it and essentially passed over you. Went to the
Exactly.
next person,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Passed over me and asked. That person, was it a man, woman? Do you recall?
It was a male.
Okay. And asked the next male person waiting behind me if he needed assistance.
I then told her that I needed assistance, that I was trying to file a FOIA request.
And then advised her that I needed assistance with filing a FOIA request. Okay.
It was at that time that I saw Sergeant Bryan Fahey in the background. He was inside the building, so she had the door open. I saw him in the background in the lobby area, and he waved at me.
I saw Sergeant Bryan inside the building in the lobby. He waved at you, he said.
Yeah.
Okay.
He then came to the. I'm trying to be concise here, but I am trying to be concise here. Also, because we do have the video does speak for itself, but so I'm just trying to get the main points. He then came to the door and asked the man behind me too if he needed assistance and what can he help me with. I believe that a man needed help with pistol permits, and the man went in front of me and entered the building.
Okay. The man
He
skipped
passed.
ahead of you.
Yeah, he skipped ahead of me. I'm still standing in the doorway at this point.
Me and entered the building. Okay.
Sergeant Fahey said that I had no business here, because I basically said, "What about me? Like, I have business to conduct." He says, "You have no business here," and then he proceeded to violently close the door on my foot was inside of, like, I was standing in the door, so then he, two hands, started pulling the door violently on my leg to close the door, but since my leg was in the doorway, it wouldn't close.
Okay. Sergeant Fahey told me I had no business there and proceeded to violently close the door on me. My foot and leg were still in the door, preventing it from closing.
That's correct.
No, that's a separate area. We'll do it at the end. My foot and leg were still in the door, preventing it from closing. Were you injured at all?
No.
I was not injured. Okay.
It did hurt though.
Okay. But it did hurt. But you didn't seek any medical treatment?
I did not seek any.
Anything like that?
I did not seek any medical treatment, no.
It hurt. I did not seek any medical treatment. All right, moving on. Sorry, what do we got next?
Yeah, so he basically violently tries to close the door. At this whole time I'm recording, and Trooper Kyoe, she's kind of behind him with her body camera on. He then goes and grabs my camera and turns it off. I rip it from his. We kind of held my camera just like I'm holding it now at the same time, and he tried to take it from me. At least that's, how I felt.
So he took possession of the camera? Or no?
He didn't.
So
He attempted to take possession of the camera is what I would assume. He attempted to take possession of my camera. I pulled the camera away from him as he tried to grab it, and in that process, the camera was turned off by him.
My camera, what was I'll read this back to you in 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure
Sure, yeah.
Pulled away and at some point Okay. Sergeant Fahey then attempted to take possession of my camera, but was unsuccessful. I pulled away, and at some point during this, the camera was turned off.
Yeah.
Correct? Okay. Okay, what follows?
So at this point he goes face to face with me. I told him I'm not scared of you, because again, referencing the 2 years ago where he did this almost the same exact thing, except I would say a lot worse. I told him I wasn't scared of him, and he got in my face, and I was like, you want to assault me? I forget exactly the exchange, but we became face to face. He had gotten right into my face, and it was an exchange of some sort. I don't recall. Again, I don't have the video footage because at this point the camera was off, but it should be on the body camera footage of the trooper.
Okay.
I wasn't worried about my phone at this point. I was more worried about my safety. I didn't worry about my phone being turned back on immediately. I was more worried about the armed man in front of me that was clearly unhinged. And if you could just make it clear somewhere in there, turning off my camera is not only a violation of my First Amendment right, but Connecticut state law that was passed for law enforcement interfering with recording.
I'll read all this back to you.
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
Turning off my camera was not only a violation of my First Amendment, also of the recently passed. What did you describe it as? I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think I don't know the actual name. It was Connecticut state law. I believe it's Accountability Act. I think that's what it is.
Okay. Recently passed law regarding police accountability.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just going to go back and just so we're all kind of abreast here.
Sure.
I told him that I was not scared of him and had interacted with him during a previous incident years ago that was worse than this. My biggest concern was for my safety at this point. Turning off my camera was not only a violation of my First Amendment right, but also of the recently passed law regarding police accountability.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. What follows?
And then, so the door was, he eventually closed the door. Him and the trooper were inside. I turned on my recording again, my camera, and I began recording.
Okay.
There was another, just to be clear, there was another, when this whole interaction was happening, there was an unidentified trooper. He wouldn't identify himself to me. He's in the video, though. There was another trooper standing behind me as this was all taking place.
Okay. Okay. Another trooper whom wouldn't identify himself.
Yeah, I asked him several times.
He was standing behind you during this exchange.
Yes, during then.
Okay.
Eventually, legal, I believe, Connecticut State Police, the legal department got involved, and they came and Trooper Keough allowed me inside of the building, and I spoke with Connecticut State Police legal department, and they gave me the information I needed in order to file my FOIA request.
Okay, so the legal department became involved. Trooper Keough let you you inside the building. At that time, you filed your FOIA request with the legal.
Yeah, I also explained to them that I explained to them the situation that I was assaulted and my property was and Sergeant Fahey tried to take my property from me, and I wanted to file a FOIA request, and they helped me with that.
Did you file it there, or did they just?
They gave me I didn't file it there. We talked about Sergeant Bryan Fahey's the interaction, how he assaulted me and tried to take my camera from me, and then they gave me the information I needed in order, an email address to file the FOIA request.
Okay. Yeah. This time let's see. You know what, I'm gonna get rid of that because it's not exactly accurate. We'll say at that time, the legal affairs personnel they provide you with an email address and instructions on how to file that request?
That's correct.
You mentioned you also voiced your concerns that we already discussed above with
Yeah.
the legal affairs folks. I also, just to summarize what I'm going to say, if it's okay with you, I'm going to say I also voiced my concerns regarding the previous mentioned matters with them. If that's okay.
That's
So
okay.
I'm gonna word it
That's
different.
fine.
Previously noted matters. Anything else after that?
Sergeant Fahey did come out again. I don't know where he was, but he came out to the public lobby because after I spoke with legal, I started to take some pictures and video inside the lobby of different artifacts you guys have there, different posters and things of that nature, and he was very upset that I didn't leave immediately after that was over, and he was voicing that to legal department.
Sergeant Fahey came out to the lobby again while I was taking some photos and video of various memorabilia.
Yeah.
You mentioned he was upset?
Yeah, he was upset with that. He was upset that I was still in the building.
He was upset that I hadn't left the building?
Yeah.
Okay.
I told him, and then I think this is important to include.
There was an additional
There was this is the additional interaction. Before he went upstairs, I told him he was about to go into the hall, into a stairwell. I told him, you wouldn't have assaulted me without that gun and badge on.
Okay. A stairwell. I told him he wouldn't have assaulted me without that gun and badge on. Okay.
He comes, the door had closed at this point. He comes back out after I said that and says, you wouldn't have done this without your camera.
Okay, so he came back out of the stairwell.
Yeah. Said, you wouldn't have done it without your camera. I don't know what I did, but other than record, I guess I wouldn't record without my camera, but he says you wouldn't have done this without your camera.
You wouldn't have done this without your camera. Okay.
And then he left. I told this is the last part of it. I went to Trooper Kioe and I told her, did you not just see him? I basically brought up my concerns of the assault to her and why she didn't act on it, and she said that it was a back and forth between us, and she wasn't going to do anything apparently.
Okay. I approached Trooper Kioe with my concerns regarding being assaulted, as
Yep.
you said, right?
Yep.
Assaulted by Sergeant Fahey. And she mentioned that she saw there was a back and forth.
Yeah.
Between,
And she wasn't going to do anything.
She replied that there was a back and forth between us. We'll say between he and I.
Mm-hmm.
And she wasn't going to do anything.
At that point, I just left, and that was it. That concluded. I didn't run into Sergeant Bryan Fahey anymore or anything. Just that's the end. Yep.
Nothing else after that?
That's it.
I'll read it back to you if you don't mind.
Sure, yeah, no problem.
Please stop me anytime if we need to, edit or make changes or anything like that. On 6/16/2023, at approximately 3 p.m., I went to the Connecticut State Police headquarters in Middletown, Connecticut, to file a FOIA request. While outside in the parking lot area recording, I was approached by Trooper Keoig, number 854. She advised me that I was making people uncomfortable and asked me to leave. She was only asking, not ordering me to leave. She eventually advised me that it was okay to stay, and she went back inside. I felt that her demeanor was unprofessional toward me. So far, so good?
Yes.
I then walked to the front of the building and waited in line. The same trooper, Keoig, came to the door, opened it, passed over me, and asked the next male person waiting behind me if he needed assistance. I then advised her that I needed assistance with filing a FOIA request. At that time, I saw Sergeant Bryan Fahey inside the building in the lobby area. He waved at me. Sergeant Fahey then came to the door and asked the man behind me if he needed assistance. The man then skipped ahead of me and entered the building. Excuse me. So far, so good.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to just break it up in the
Yep.
section here for the sake of flow here. Sergeant Fahey told me I had no business there and proceeded to violently close the door on me. My foot and leg were still in the door, preventing it from closing. I was not injured, but it did hurt. I did not seek any medical treatment. I was recording this entire interaction. Sergeant Fahey then attempted to take possession of my camera, but was unsuccessful. I pulled away, and at some point during this, the camera was turned off. Good?
Yep.
Sergeant Fahey and I were then face to face. I told him that I was not scared of him and had interacted with him during a previous incident years ago that was worse than this. My biggest concern was for my safety at this point. Turning off my camera was not, I don't mean to yell, I just want to talk to make sure I can hear me over the yell.
No, I understand.
Turning off my camera was not only a violation of my First Amendment right, but also of the recently passed law regarding police accountability. Sergeant Fahey then closed the door, and he and Trooper Keoig were inside. Another trooper, who wouldn't identify himself, was standing behind me during this exchange. Eventually, the legal department became involved. Trooper Keoig let me inside the building. At that time, the legal affairs personnel provided me with an email address and instructions how to file the request. I also voiced my concerns with them regarding the previously noted matters. I also voiced my concerns with them regarding the previously noted matters. Sound good so far?
Yep.
Sergeant Fahey came out of the lobby again while I was taking some photos and videos of various memorabilia. He was upset that I hadn't left the building. Before Sergeant Fahey went to the stairwell, I told him, "You wouldn't have assaulted me without that gun and badge on." He came back out of the stairwell and said, "You wouldn't have done that without your camera." Sergeant Fahey then left. I approached Trooper Keoig with my concerns regarding being assaulted by Sergeant Fahey. She replied that there was a back and forth, and I quote, between he and I, and she wasn't going to do anything. I then left the building. Nothing follows. Correct?
Correct. Thank you.
All right. We're just about done. I know it's a lot, but I want to make sure that we're being thorough.
Oh, for sure.
In that video, if you could send that, that would be
Of course.
helpful. Let's see here. So I'm just going to have you give me a couple of initials and signatures, if you don't mind.
Yep.
Yeah, let's see. What kind would you like? If you could just initial there, just because I crossed off that section, I want to know that we were there together. At the end, yep, do that one too.
Over here?
That's
It's just
fine,
a cross out.
Okay.
Thank you. And then at the end, just saying that's the end. And then if you would, I'll have you sign as the complaint. I'm just going to read this to you right here, this little disclaimer. I have read or had read to me the attached complaint and statement consisting of, I think we have 2 pages. Excuse me, I'm going to borrow that for 1 second. Consisting of 2 pages. All of the answers are true and accurate to my knowledge. I understand that any false statement herein, which I do not believe to be true, and which is intended to mislead a public servant in the performance of his or her official function, is a crime punishable by fine and/or imprisonment. Assuming that is accurate and you understand and agree to that, if you would sign there, please, just swearing that it's true and accurate. And today is the 28th of June.
Thank you. 28th.
28th, yeah. Thank you. Person. And that's for the lieutenant to sign. Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Yeah, if you could send us that video, I really appreciate it.
I will.
I appreciate you coming down and taking the time to talk to us.
Yeah, just when you open up the investigation, you'll let me know when it's completed.
Yeah, we'll let you know when it starts and when it's completed.
Okay.
And I'm sure someone will be in contact with you during the investigation as well. It's not going to be like, you know, you hear from us at the beginning and then hear from us a couple months
Okay.
later. That's it. There will be someone reaching out to you for sure.
Okay, yeah, just because I would definitely love to know when it's completed and the findings, because I really hope that this office holds Sergeant Bryan Fahey accountable in at least some way, because last time he wasn't, and I truly believe that's why this event occurred again.
Okay.
Because he wasn't held accountable the first time for his actions.
All right. I can't really comment on that one. I don't know anything about it, but I'll
I'm
pass
just-
that along to you.
Yeah, just thought I'd let you know since you're investigating it. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Take care.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. You guys stay safe, okay?
Thank you.
Take care. All right, guys, so we're just going to be getting out of the Office of Professional Standards here for the Connecticut State Police. So the two investigators that took my complaint, and even the captain, were very professional with me, and that's all I can ask for. Are they going to do their job? That remains to be seen. We will be getting the full internal affairs report. We will be FOIA requesting that, just like we did last time. You see right at the end, very important that I had to let him know. I hope your office does the right thing this time and holds Sergeant Bryan Fahey accountable, because he wasn't held accountable last time, and we all know, we the people all know, he assaulted me and attempted to take my camera and turn it off again 2 years later, because he got away with it the first time. There was no accountability for him. Will there be accountability for Sergeant Bryan Fahey this time? We will find out. Again, treating me with professionalism and respect is one thing, but doing your job that you are paid by the taxpayers to do and hold rogue, tyrant state troopers accountable is another. They need to do their job here. We the people need to make sure that they do their job. There needs to be accountability for that tyrant. He's a loose cannon, he's a savage, he's an animal. He is one of the worst human beings I've ever come in contact with. He has no control of his emotions. He's like a child. No control of his emotions whatsoever. And he has a gun and a badge and authority that we the people gave him. Ridiculous. Remember, Sergeant Bryan Fahey was involved in an unarmed man shooting before. There's a reason why he works in the headquarters and not out on the street. Would you want someone like that, so unhinged, to be dealing with pistol permits? I wouldn't. We need to come together and make sure he's held accountable. Federal lawsuit and state lawsuits are incoming against Sergeant Bryan Fahey, so stay tuned to the channel for that and any future updates. I wanted to document this process with all of you for full transparency and to show each and every one of you that if your rights get violated by the Connecticut State Police or any law enforcement office agency, you have a right to come to their internal affairs office and file a complaint and record that complaint. So I hope you all appreciated this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, stay safe. God bless. I'll see you in the next video. Long Island Audit. Peace.